Impossible to predict. Look, I don't listen to the polls. They change every day. We're 1 point up, we're 1 point down. It really doesn't matter. It is a very, very close race. The campaign has known about this. I mean, I've been involved in the campaign for a year, ever since Joe Biden announced that he was running a year ago. It's down to 5 to 7 states, as you've said on your program, and it's very, very tight. We continue to press because a lot is at stake. I've been living in Europe for 35 years. I've never seen this degree of angst about an election. I can tell you that much.
Yeah, I hear you, sir, and I hear it on my travels as well. And yet, sir, and I'll allude to the fact that you're also the author of a book which is called Stars with Stripes, and it very much looks at the importance of the relationship between the European Union and Europe more broadly, and indeed the United States as well. But you, and I should also point out, of course, you were an Obama-era appointee as the ambassador to the EU as well. But Ambassador Gardner as well, how important is this election coming up for European-US relations?
Decisively important. I know I've not the first time I've said this, I admit. I said it last time, I've said it several times, but this one is just so much more important for a lot of reasons. It's not just Ukraine, as important that is, the fate of Ukraine, which I think happens to be incredibly important, not only for Europe, but for the credibility of the United States more broadly, including in Asia. I think in trade, it's going to have massive impact on a lot of people who are watching this show, including in business. So if Donald Trump does anything close to what he says he wants to do, which, to remind everyone, is 100% tariffs on Chinese exports and a universal tariff of up to 10 to 20% on all exports, including Europe, that will have a massive impact, partly because Europe will not follow in the shoes of the United States in that kind of a policy, because it lives and dies on free trade. It believes in the multilateral institutions. It has to, perhaps because they don't have the size and the weight of our single market, so to speak. They cannot follow. So what will happen? Chinese exports will be displaced, in my view, to a significant extent, from the United States to the European market at an incredibly fragile time for Europe. And we saw it in the Draghi report. He was absolutely right in his diagnosis. So what happens if Europe is continuing to be submerged by Chinese exports very competitively, including in areas where Europe hopes to continue to be a player, whether it's in cars, EVs, batteries, and so forth? That's, in my view, going to be the number one impact on Europe.
Yes, sir. I hear what you're saying about the European Union living and die by free trade, but it's also, according to the Republicans, and it's a view that a lot of people have sympathy with, is having a free ride off the United States as well. And we all remember back in 2018, the lambasting that Jens Stoltenberg got for the military stance of Germany and others whilst taking free or cheap Russian energy as well. There's a lot of people who aren't Republicans who have got a lot of understanding for actually the fact that Europe needs to start paying up for its strategic positioning globally and actually defending itself to a certain degree, sir.
Well, hang on, wait a second. You're talking about military and security. My point was about trade, which is a completely separate issue. On military, you're absolutely right. This is not a new issue. Donald Trump didn't invent it, to be clear. We've been talking about this for decades. Now, is he responsible for the fact that European countries have finally stepped up closer to meet the 2%? Some are beyond, but some, like Belgium and Spain, are well below. No, he isn't. The geopolitical chessboard has become a lot more difficult. And it's Putin's invasion of Ukraine, in my view, that was the key reason why, belatedly, a lot of European countries finally moved toward that 2% minimum threshold of defense spending to GDP. You're right. There has been some free riding going on, and it needs to change. But let's remember, Donald Trump did not invent nor solve this issue.